Joining us now for a CNBC exclusive live interview, Will Lewis, Chair and CEO of Insmed. Will, welcome back to Fast Money. Congratulations on this data.
Thanks so much.
The analyst community are overwhelmed by it. It could be the best in class, as Truist Leerink says. It easily exceeded the best case scenario here. What is the next step in terms of getting this to market?
Well, today is clearly a great day for patients with this disease. This is a fatal condition, and the data we put out today is really, to the best of our knowledge, looking at the primary endpoint, the best data that's ever been put out in any clinical controlled trial ever across any medicine for this disease. So our next step is to take that data to the FDA and have a conversation about what the development path looks like from here.
Okay. Can you talk to us about your pipeline? Because this is not the only drug that you have in trials. And so what does your pipeline look like in terms of drugs to market, drugs in phase 3 by the end of, pick your time point, the end of the year, 5 years?
Sure. So right now we call ourselves 3 for 3. So our first 3 major late-stage compounds have all now either been approved or have passed serious significant clinical milestones. It was about a year ago today that we had our phase 3 data from the Aspen trial, which looked at the treatment of our second compound in bronchiectasis. That one has now a PDUFA date of August 12th. So presuming that that goes forward as expected, that'll be approved, and we'll launch that drug this coming next quarter. So that's one of 3, but all 3 are either first or best-in-class medicines, so they're going to have a big impact on these patient populations.
So, I mean, we talked last year, and I know we had some glowing things to say, and it's come to fruition, probably not in the same way we thought, but here we are. This feels like the start of something, not the end of something, in terms of the stock, but also in terms of the company, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we are at the strongest point in this company's history. I've been here for 13 years. When I started, the company had 25 employees. Today, we number about 1,500. With offices and operations in the U.S., Europe, and Japan. But these first 3 medicines, each one of them represents a potential blockbuster in their respective disease states. And as I mentioned before, our first one, Arikayce, that's approved, first ever approved for that disease. The second one, DPP1 for bronchiectasis, that will be the first ever approved for bronchiectasis, a condition that numbers almost 550,000 in the U.S. today. And this third one today, TPIP, goes after what is a very well-established and competitive market, but it comes with best-in-disease data.
Yeah, we saw some of your competitors down sharply today on the back of your results, United Therapeutics and Liquidia, for instance. In terms of, just last week, we were talking to Jared Holz of Mizuho, and he named Insmed as the #1 takeout target in biotech at this point. How do you think about remaining independent versus exploring a sale, particularly as the backdrop for biotech in general has been fairly negative? Investors just have not loved the space, let's put it that way, for the past 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a very challenging time for the biotech industry, and that's what makes our ability to perform in this environment all the more remarkable in my mind, and kudos to the whole team at Insmed for making that possible. I will say that, as you mentioned a moment ago, I think this is just the beginning. Each one of these medicines we're talking about has the ability to impact diseases beyond the ones we've already spoken of. So there is additional data, additional events that are going to happen between now and even just 12 months from now. Roughly 6 to 10 different clinical or regulatory or commercial milestones that the company is expected to pass, which should continue to improve our opportunity to develop medicines to help patients and consequently drive value for our shareholders.
All of that sounds very expensive. We were just talking about your balance sheet before. You pay down a lot of debt. Are you going to raise some more money? And is that your way of saying that we will stay independent?
So our focus is clearly to build value for our shareholders through the provision of medicines that are going to have an impact on patients. We don't really lift our head up from that mission, and it's always been my experience and my background. I was an investment banker in the dark past. And what you learn is that companies are not sold, they're bought. And so when someone decides to do that, they're going to take us off our path, so be it. But in the meantime, we're going to have our head down and we're going to continue to drive shareholder value. I have never been more excited about where we sit today relative to the future, because each one of these markets, we're going to go from where we are today in terms of addressing patients, increasing that number from about 30,000 globally today to over 2 million by 2030, assuming all these approvals come forward. So as you said a moment ago, this is just the beginning for Insmed.
And you don't need a partner to bring any of these drugs.
That is correct.
To commercialization.
We have built commercial infrastructure ourselves. Our first medicine, which we launched, was a top 10 launch. I think the street thought we were going to do somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 60 million, and we ended up doing a little over 130. So the team is excellent. It's ready for what we have before us, and we're really excited to go out there and bring these medicines to patients and make a difference in their lives.